Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Kalina.
And I'm Elanor.
And welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where we love our lives and we never have Wi-Fi issues and we kind of talk about movies.
I agree wholeheartedly. This is the first time that we have tried to record this, and also the first time we have tried to call each other.
Yes, in our lives, actually.
Ever. Actually, I didn't have Kalina's phone number until today, and that's true.
That is true. Also, yeah, every time we record, what happens is I just record my half and then Elanor records her half, and then we just put them together, and we're just so in sync that we don't even have to, talk together. We just know, you know?
Yeah, so this is, we're recording on separate days. You know, Kalina, I don't even know what she's saying. I know when the audio is dead to fill in gaps. That's how we do this.
We're just on the same wavelength.
Truly. It's like we're married.
It's like we're married. Oh, speaking of married, this is the story I was trying to tell. Definitely not when we tried to record this 5 minutes ago, right? Anyway, Elanor texted me the other day, and she was like, when Taylor Swift released her new album, can I hard launch you? And then she goes, I won't tell anyone we're married, but I'll, heavily imply it. And I said, Elanor, you've been doing that for literal years. I don't know why you're now asking for my permission.
Well, I don't think we're Instagram official. I just have you in all of my photos, and also I think tagged in my bio. That could mean anything.
I was like, if we're official anywhere, it's on Instagram. We're definitely official on TikTok, because I posted a TikTok of Elanor and it was like a soulmate thing, but I meant Elanor was my platonic soulmate, but whatever. I was not too fussy about the details, right? But anyway, I posted this TikTok, and I didn't think it was super, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't super
Romantic?
it wasn't alluding to anything. No, yeah, romantic. I didn't think it was hinting at anything. I just thought it was a normal post. And then someone who I met, who a friend of mine or an acquaintance of mine, who follows me on Instagram, sent me a screenshot of my TikTok on Instagram, and she was like, oh my god, I didn't know that about you. And then I didn't have the energy to explain anything, so I was like, oh yeah, that's what I said.
Wait, which TikTok is this about?
I am pretty sure it was the moon soulmate test one. So
okay,
I didn't think that was super romantic, but I didn't think that was super. I saw tons of best friends doing it before I saw couples doing it. And also, I hashtagged it platonic soulmate. I'm 75% sure, but the girl didn't speak English, offering of her, right? So
okay,
that might be an important part of the story now that I think about it. But anyway, so I was like, oh yeah, and then she was like, how long have you two been together? And I was like, oh,
Kalina, the jump scare I get when people ask me questions like we're legitimately married. I know it's my fault, but it's not my fault.
I've had to try very hard. I'm starting to I'm doing this training, right? So I've obviously met a lot of new people, and all of my stories are about Elanor. If they're not about Elanor, they're about my mother. Okay, and so, but I call Elanor my wife when I talk about her, and so it's been very hard for me not to say my wife when I'm talking to these new people, because if I say my wife, then I have to go through the whole thing of, oh my god, I didn't know you were married, and then it's just it's a whole thing. And I don't want to flat out lie, but it is just easier to say, oh yeah, I am. But not, I have to be I'm Elanor is my wife in every way, but legally and also romantically.
Oh, yeah, no, I've definitely said out loud to another human being multiple times, in every way, but legally, romantically, and sexually, we are married. And then
exactly, and they're those are the important things.
So you're not married? I'll say, no, we are. And apparently, someone had a few too many drinks at the last work happy hour, and I don't know what I started saying, but
I did get a text that was I love you, and I was like, I think it's time for you to go to bed, sweetheart.
I definitely showed a photo of you to half the people there, and I believe I said, look how hot my wife is. So I really don't think we're gonna beat the marriage allegations.
But yeah, I'm terrified to go visit Elanor now, because I feel if we go to her job or something, we run into her coworkers, we're gonna be oh my god,
we're gonna have to hold
your
hands.
Entire life story.
we will have to hold hands. This was a long con to get you to hold hands with me in public.
Oh, good God. No, we'll just tell them we're having a fight because, like, if anyone's ever heard us speak to each other, they'll believe that.
It sounds like we do not love each other. Actually, it sounds like we straight up contempt each other sometimes.
I mean, two things. Stuff can be two things.
And speaking of contempt, please don't groom children.
Oh my goodness! Listen, like that's not a. I feel like that's not a message we as ripe young 20-year-olds, okay, who realistically have not been on the planet all that many years, should have to teach anyone, or anyone should have to teach anyone this lesson in the year of our Lord 2023. Okay.
And like, if you are, and I'm not speaking to Kalina, I'm speaking to the wider world. If you are going to groom a child, don't. But like, if you find yourself in the position where you have already done that, and there are screenshots and proof and real non-fiction, actual you did this sort of things, maybe just dip from the internet forever. That's the best thing to do. Like, the very best thing to do is to go back in time and not be creepy, but like, if you have already been creepy and people have caught on, just never go online again.
Alternately, which is like sort of a related point, is if you are accused of doing something horrible and you know for like this is like absolutely not true, there is evidence this is not true, there is like this is like hand of God, okay, when judgment day comes, it's like a lie, okay?
Show it.
Don't sing a song.
Just show the proof. If there's proof, just show the proof.
I don't even care if you don't have the proof and sing it in a song. Just don't. There should be no music happening.
Absolutely, unless for some god awful reason the proof is like embedded in a Trey Songz music video. Keep music out of it.
Yeah, it's like, here you can see I was filming all day for this music video. Okay, then fine. But even then, mute the video. Let's watch it. We'll see you.
Yeah, let's have no... I saw, actually, I don't remember if it was a TikTok comment or a tweet or something that said that they think she did this in a song so that it's easier for like copyright systems to pick up on reactions of it, but I do not think she is smart enough to do that.
I don't think so, but I've seen enough people say that I think now she can do that, because I haven't. So first of all, you've read the title. We're talking about Colleen Ballinger because of course we are. Everyone is. That's insane. She's insane, right? And her, mostly, I don't even want to talk about her specifically, like this is the jumping point for the conversation, but I think this is a conversation Elanor and I have had before with each other because, you know, we
are each other's only friends.
Never end. Yes. And basically, like, just kind of the idea of, like, not just YouTuber apologies, but, like, YouTuber apologies and kind of the culture around celebrities having to apologize for things, because I think it's ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying Colleen Ballinger did not need to apologize, okay? Because she did. And in instances like this, yes, people need to apologize. Or even if it's like something that like you can say like for something like this, I think you can say sorry. No one's entitled to forgive you, but like I think saying sorry is still good. But like at the end of the day, it needs to be addressed in some way. But I also think on the other hand, sometimes it's kind of taken to the wrong end and to the extreme, which we'll discuss later. But basically, we're talking about Colleen Ballinger, who was accused of so many things.
Oh my goodness. I am so sorry, guys. I just got an email that's gonna ruin my night if I let it. And I'm not gonna let it. But I am gonna get a little grumpy about Colleen Ballinger.
Alright, well, since you're grumpy about her, you give us a little background for those of us who don't know who Colleen Ballinger is.
Just
give
real
us
quick.
the rundown.
First of all, she's already been like a notable headline in the YouTuber apology space before, and it didn't go over well, so like I don't know why she thought trying again would be a good idea. But okay, Colleen Ballinger, I don't know when she started uploading to YouTube. I want to say it was like early 2010s, late 2000s, but like kind of in the heyday, where all you had to do was be slightly funny and conventionally attractive, and you would hit 1 million subscribers in 2 weeks. But it wasn't a Colleen channel, it was about she had a persona named Miranda Sings, who personally I always found annoying and do not know that much about, but I believe the joke, the main joke distills down to bad singer who thinks she can sing creepy uncle, and like this is something that was just recently pointed out that I don't know how I didn't see. It's supposed to sort of kind of be implied that the character Miranda Sings is disabled.
Yeah.
Which is not a great start of a channel. It is a very, late 2000s start to a channel, but not a great start.
Yeah, not to be like, oh, to justify that was the time, but it didn't make it okay even then. But I think a good way to frame things like that is a lot of stuff slipped under the radar because of the time. So like we cast, I think now people harp on like even little things, like, oh my god, you got a dog from a breeder, like stuff like that, like little things they will catch. Whereas now whereas before I think like the net was so small for things that were considered like problematic enough to impact a career or impact viewership.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think we've gotten a little more, I don't want to say nitpicky because I feel like it's not a bad thing that we're being overall more culturally and socially aware, but like, yeah.
Like we're not waiting for 3 strikes. We kind of go off strike 1 and then,
But like we had a lot more overt things to sort of tackle, I think, to get to the point where we are now.
Yes.
But yeah, that is how she started. She got wildly, insanely popular. I would say from like maybe 2012 to honestly like 2018 maybe, like a good long run where she was incredibly popular, especially with teenage girls and gay people. Can I say that? I can say that. I'm one. I can say that. Gay people.
So you remember in your Taylor Swift episode where you were just saying words?
Yes, I do recall
and I
that.
had to post that. Or even, do you remember the episode we posted last week and I had to cut out about a good 10 minutes of it? So, moral of the story.
Does that mean I can say gay people?
Yes.
Gay youth, I think, really just the teenage girls and the weirdos. There are people who, anyway, those were her primary audience. And as is often happens with people who particularly attract teenage girls in their fan base, the fan base got a little rabid, it got a little particularly dedicated, and it got a little Colleen can do no wrong, which is really where the main problem, because she can, and I think she relied a little bit too much on her core group of fans thinking that she can do no wrong, and she took that as a I really can do no wrong. And I'm not to say that that's the fans' problem, because she was a grown adult with a fully developed frontal cortex, and she should have been able to realize that she is making bad choices. But it's mildly understandable why she felt a little bit more protected in making these bad choices, because she was surrounded by a group of literal children who were hyping her up. And maybe you shouldn't take career advice from literal children. Maybe you should listen when your team of lawyers tell you to not post things or not say things, if you want a career.
What I was gonna say, not even that, even if her fans were adults with also fully formed frontal cortexes, you cannot base your moral judgment off of that, because at the end of the day, 1, they're not living your life for you. 2, I think, and we talk about this all the time, but a fan-celebrity relationship, the fan, I think, it depends on the context and also the level of fame, because let's take Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is obviously more removed from his fans than his fans are to him, but I think YouTubers and stuff, and celebrities in that sense, influencers, so to speak, make their living and make their fame and their platform is built off of kind of making this personal connection. So the fan, I think, is always going to be more removed than the influencer or the celebrity is in that instance, because the fan is always viewing you through a screen, and you watch movies on a screen and you play video games, so it's always going to be to them not quite as real versus the YouTuber who's sitting there sharing their actual life. if that makes sense.
It does, and I like that, and it's very smart, and you sound like you have a media degree.
Oh my god, thank you, I do.
How much do you actually know about the lead up to this? Because I have just a couple key points that I would like to talk about, but I don't know if you know them. Like, what's your level of knowledge?
My level of knowledge is, I saw some screenshots about, like, the issues or the incidents people were talking about, and then for like the last 2 days or whatever the video came out, I've just seen people posting clips of her apology video, if you can even call it that, and clowning on her as she rightfully deserves.
All right, so I just want to highlight one thing, because we were talking about the fans. What sort of jump started the I don't want to say downfall, because that sounds really dramatic, but kind of what brought a spotlight to these misgivings a couple years ago is that a fan spoke out and said that Colleen just turned on him, basically. And it came out that one notable thing, this fan was in a lot of group chats with Colleen, and had actually at some point, she had given him the passwords to her Miranda Sings social media accounts. And there had been times where he would post for her and like get her approval on it, but he would be the one who actually posts it. And one key thing that kind of started it is that he posted basically gay baiting, where the Miranda Sings account tweeted something along the lines of Happy Pride Month. I have a big announcement to share with you guys later today. Stay tuned. And so kind of the intent of that was, oh my god, Miranda Sings is going to come out as a lesbian, which, like, that's weird, but, you know. And then the coming out post was her coming out as a Meghan Trainor fan, which would be very funny if it was coming from somebody gay, I think. And it was, because the fan who posted this is, but Colleen/Miranda is not. But
that's who he's posting on behalf of.
Yeah. But, like, Colleen had okayed this beforehand. And as soon as it started, people started saying, hey, this is weird, and this is not your place to make jokes like this as somebody who is not part of the queer community. Colleen then turned around and blamed the fan for everything that happened, even though she gave him the ability to post. She gave him the password. She okayed the post. She made it his fault and kind of basically scorned him entirely.
Which, like, don't do. Again, back to the whole, like, viewing through a screen being removed. You need to have, which she addressed so poorly in her stupid 10-minute song, boundaries. And, like, I understand, and then, like, I don't understand her point in the song, okay? However, I do understand when you're first coming in contact with fame. And again, especially in the early 2000s for, like, YouTuber sort of fame, that's a novel idea. It's not exactly something we have a frame of reference for. Like, if I became a famous actor today, I know, not, and obviously I don't know, but I have a frame of reference. Back to my Brad Pitt example, you know, I see photos from the Met Gala. I kind of know, like, what sort of lifestyle, what sort of vibe, what sort of presence I'm expected to have. And along with that, I'm understanding what sort of relationship I should have with my fans, or lack thereof. Whereas I think, again, influencers are about more personal in terms of being a celebrity versus an actor or a famous musician. And also, it was a novel concept. This was the first time people were making a living and gaining fame and followers off of posting YouTube videos, at least to any significant extent, right? So, all of that said, to say that I can understand not understanding how to properly establish boundaries. Now, the boundaries that she crossed, I think, are common sense and have nothing to do with fame.
Oh, it gets worse. I'm just waiting, because you're saying some amazing things. It also gets worse, but I'm gonna let you. I have one thing to say. after you're done, and then I'm gonna make it worse. But I love this train of thought, and I think you're brilliant.
Thank you. I think so too. I like understanding where the line is, how much is too much, because there's some stuff that like isn't necessarily inherently bad you could share. Like you could share things about your family, and like maybe it's not ideal, but like it's not the end of the world. It's not going to ruin your life. It's not going to dox them, so to speak. It's not really like going to impact their lives or your life or any meaningful way by sharing this information. But it's probably best not to do that, just to maintain this distance. And there wasn't really a protocol for that, for lack of a better term. However, end of the day, as I said earlier, the boundary she crossed and then claims she didn't really understand, even though she was a grown adult woman with a fully developed brain, the boundary she crossed, I think like I could explain this to probably a 10-year-old and they would understand why not to cross these boundaries, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw, just to kind of add on real quick, I saw back when Taylor Swift broke up with her boyfriend, I saw a lot of people that were like, why hasn't she, like, announced it? And I saw TikTok, and I'm so sorry, that's where my information comes from. But it was like, you know, Taylor Swift is not a YouTuber. She's not an Instagram influencer. She's not going to announce her breakup on a story post. She's, like, a traditional celebrity. It's going to be, you know, released through her reps, through, like, a magazine article, that sort of stuff. And I think that kind of highlights a little bit of what you're talking about, where traditional celebrities and YouTubers are still incredibly different in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to how and when they share this kind of personal information. And
also, sorry, real quick before I forget this point, if you think about it, even if I take a YouTuber, so let me take like I
Drew
can't
Gooden.
think of a fantastic example. Drew Gooden, okay? No, that's not a good. Okay. Well, we'll take Drew Gooden or like Cody Ko, Noel. Okay? They post with their partners. We know what their partners look like. Now they do not make like content about their partners necessarily, but like especially since the three of them got married, they're like blah blah blah, my wife, blah blah blah, and like we've seen them. They're kind of involved. Cody's a good example because Cody does videos with Kelsey, his girlfriend, or his wife now, right? They do videos together. He hops on her channel and they do videos together. So if Cody broke up with Kelsey and then got divorced, we're not entitled to this because we don't know these people, okay? We talked about this when we talked about
John Mulaney.
I don't know, John Mulaney, okay? I think that was last week actually. Yeah, when we talked about John Mulaney. We're not entitled to any of this. They're celebrities, they're strangers, we do not know them. However, I would understand if Cody Ko got on Instagram or made a little YouTube short or whatever, tweeted and was like, yo, yes, we confirming blah blah blah, we broke up. Because they have made content with their wives, partners, yada, yada, yada. They are, like, not an integral part, but they are
would directly impact what they put out. Yeah.
Now, if some guy who's on YouTube and does, I don't know, speed runs of Minecraft, okay, just randomly broke up with his girlfriend and tweeted about it, and none of us even knew he had a girlfriend to break up with, what does it have to do with anything?
Nothing.
We're not entitled to that information even if we see your wife in every single video, let alone if we've never heard of her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I wanted to say that before I forgot.
No, I fully agree.
The Taylor Swift thing. So Taylor Swift Taylor Swift does not make her career off of her. Now, does she write about relationships? Yes, but it's not like Taylor Swift is singing every song going blah 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 blah. My boyfriend's what was his name? Joe. My boyfriend's name is Joe. He's blonde and he acts. That's not like what her career was based off of. For her to then owe us, yeah, we broke up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, thank you. Sorry.
Did you hear about the lingerie thing? Have you been clued into that?
No.
Okay, so this same fan that I was talking about, basically, he understandably felt scorned, and just a disclaimer, I'm not an expert in this, but this is just what I've been able to pick up. He understandably felt scorned in the aftermath of her basically turning on him and blaming him for the whole coming out post debacle. And so he talked a little bit. He had a whole YouTube video about like his relationship with Colleen and red flags I'll use. And it turns out that at some point when this guy was early teens, I want to say between 12 and 14,
Now, is this the Adam fella?
Yes, yes.
Okay. That name, I've heard the name.
Yeah.
I just didn't, I knew stuff happened, but like I said, I only seen screenshots.
Yeah,
so.
his name's Adam. And yeah, he's the one who posted the thing, and the tweet that got all the flack. A couple years before that, Colleen thought it would be funny, it sounds like, is her perspective, to send him lingerie of hers in the mail.
Right, and okay, so we see how like boundaries I was talking about earlier, and how like that's common sense. That's not a I don't know how to separate my professional or like public persona and make that a separation with that and my fans versus my private persona. That's just like common sense. Is maybe don't send lingerie to strangers, don't send lingerie to people, don't send lingerie to minors, don't send lingerie to someone who falls into all of those categories at the same time.
Like, I cannot think of, unless you are getting your committed partner, or on the low stakes end of things, your really sexy situationship, I don't understand why you would want to send lingerie to anyone.
You can only send lingerie to your situationship if they're really sexy, is what Elanor is saying. If your situationship is not the cutest, don't bother.
Yeah, I mean, if they're ugly, are you going to want to see them in lingerie anyway? I rest my case. And so that was kind of a couple years ago that all came out. And I believe Colleen did do an apology. But what sort of jump-started this new, to quote Colleen here, toxic gossip train heading for manipulation station.
Yep.
Get
If
a
it
grip.
rhymes, it's true. Obviously.
I'll be honest. Actually, I'm sorry. I was gonna say I don't know what specifically jump-started this, but I think it was the footage of her live shows, because apparently, which I have a whole other thing to talk about with YouTuber tours that we're not going to get into this, but apparently she does tours as Miranda, and
No, get into it. They're stupid and
they're
they're dumb,
so
and I never got
stupid,
them.
and so like a concert makes sense. What is occurring on a YouTuber tour? Even if it's like a Drew Gooden, who I think puts out really funny. It's like that Superwoman girl who now has a late night talk show. She was mildly funny in her controlled YouTuber format. We learned from
Short
that
10-minute video.
that you cannot put a funny in
No.
5 minutes person on a stage and expect that to go well.
Like, I feel bad for saying this because I like Curtis Connor, but he's always like, I'm on tour. Now, to
Why?
be fair, I think Curtis Connor, and I do think Curtis Connor does it the right way. We're like, if you're going to go on tour, don't just go on tour and then try to put across the same humor you're putting across in a 10, 15-minute YouTube video, okay, where you have props and editing, okay, because it's just not going to work. Now, Curtis Connor goes on tour and does what he really wants to do, which is stand-up comedy, which makes sense in the sense that, like, he's a not a comedy YouTuber, but, like, that's kind of, he pokes fun at things.
Yeah.
And his videos are humorous. So then he goes on tour and does stand-up. And, like, I think it's different enough that you could say it's not so much that it's a YouTuber tour, it just so happens to be he gained his fan base that way. But, like, he's doing something separate at the end of the day. But even then, I'm kind of like, come on, dude, right?
Like, what?
So,
Imagine...
like, Miranda sings, who's not even her. It was a personality she made up.
Yeah. She's just doing shenanigans on stage. Like, imagine you and I went on tour. We would just argue on stage for 3 hours and then send everybody home. Like, what would...
What we would do is we would have two people in the audience call out different actors, and then we would argue for a very long time about the best way. We're going to play 6 threes of Kevin Bacon, but just we would spend the entire time arguing about the best way to get from point A to point B.
No, Kalina, we can't let them just say anybody they want. It would take an hour for somebody to, like, say 2 different people that
Name
we
2
have
people we
both
knew?
know. Yeah.
I saw one the other day that was Daniel Kaluuya, so the guy from Get
No,
Out.
I know this one.
And no, oh, he's a cutie.
I know
And
he's
Saoirse
so
Ronan.
cute.
And I went to bed
SNL.
trying to put that one together.
Oh my
I
God.
feel like I never use SNL when I do it because, and also the rule for that game was no Marvel because that was a cheat because I was going to do Marvel. I feel like SNL is a cop out because it's not really characters. You know what I mean? Like I could argue anyone and everyone has passed through the SNL halls. So it makes everything a one step.
I agree, but I also think that given enough time, I could do this. And I feel like the linchpin would be Taylor Swift. And
well, I was going, first of all, I don't know anyone in Get Out, and I haven't seen Nope, but I know Keke Palmer is in Nope, so I was going Nope. Because I was gonna go Black Panther, but then it was no Marvel. So I was gonna go Nope, and I was trying to get from Keke Palmer to... I went Saoirse Ronan, Timothée Chalamet, and then I went Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya. So I was trying to get from Keke Palmer to Disney, and I was having a really hard time, so then I just went to sleep. It probably should have been easier than it was, but...
well, I think... oh, man. Saoirse Ronan was... No. Why did you mention this? This is all I'm going to be able to think about now.
I'll have it while you're talking. Finish your story. Adam came out with some red flags lingerie. That's where we finished. She sent him lingerie.
Yes. She sent this man lingerie. This boy, this minor child, who is a child that she does not know personally, lingerie. That was kind of the big thing earlier. Oh, that's what I was talking about. What jump-started this? Her live show. There are multiple clips of her just being weird on stage. Like, there was apparently one section of her live show where the gag was that she brought minors up on stage and put them in yoga positions, but the ha funny joke, it's funny, get it, is that they looked sexual.
Like, like when I hear things like that, I can't even address them because it's just so awful and stupid and horrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, even if Chloe Ting, okay, who was like, you know, getting everyone their hot girl summer bodies, okay, even if she went on tour, would I think it was stupid? Yes, she would have a product, skill,
yes,
to pedal, so to speak.
Give her like a Peloton world tour, you know? Put her in Orange Theories, you know? Like
I'm sure there's gym influencers who, like, when they get big enough, they go around and do class, like, something like that. Miranda Singh's whole thing was, like, first of all, I never liked her. Mm-mm. Second of all, her whole thing was, like, I think I'm talented, but I'm not. You're gonna take... So, like, some YouTubers don't have talent, but they can fake the funk. Her whole talent was not having talent, but thinking she did.
Mm-hmm.
Get a grip. Touch grass.
Touch grass. Genuinely, truly touch grass. Because I just don't understand what would possess
This was supposed to be our quick and easy episode, folks.
It really was. I'm so sorry. But basically, she did all these weird things. And the last like month or two has been very loud in the Colleen Ballinger space, where people have been bringing up not only what happened a couple of years ago that she already put out a piss poor apology for, but this new stuff. And like, people were in mass, in a way that did not happen previously, turning against her. And just because for a while, I think the kind of perception is that she was weird towards Adam and a couple other fans, but primarily, you know, weird towards this one person, which is not good. But if it was one person one time, maybe she can learn and grow. But it came out that it was...
And also, like, that's statistically... we're not defending her. Statistically, it's bound to happen, okay? Like, might be here having an off day. It's this one time. We're doing a meet and greet. I've met 500 people. Okay, you're 501. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I don't want to be here anymore. Mm-hmm. Okay? yeah, maybe you're gonna come back from that and be like, oh my god, Kalina's so rude, right? You're not gonna come. I mean, all 501 people are not gonna come back from that and be like, Kalina's a pedophile. You know?
Mm-hmm. Hopefully not. Anyway.
No, no. Hopefully, they definitely will not come back and say that. That I can say confidently. More than anything in my life.
No, so I think I can say that confidently too. But
And
I don't know if I can.
I
You
feel
were
like
a minor
being
when we met, and
accused.
I wasn't.
Well, don't put it like that.
Sorry.
Anyway, I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. I'm gonna block that out of my head.
That's probably good.
I just feel like being accused of being inappropriate sexually to anyone, but especially minors, is not something like that should ever be a possibility. And even though like it happens all the time and all these people apologize for it and say I was young and I was dumb and I was stupid and I didn't know better, even though it's common sense, I feel like on their end they're like not surprised, if that makes sense. Like in the back of their mind, somewhere in their head, that's in the realm of possibilities of things that could happen, and it shouldn't ever be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, you're saying good things. You genuinely, truly are, because this is... Yeah. One person, one
like,
time is a little bit more... It's not forgivable, but like Kalina said, there could be, in certain situations, I do think, it's like the girl on TikTok with that accent. One person said that she was rude, and everybody was like, well, you know, you did kind of approach her in public. Perhaps she just doesn't like being approached in public. And then in the TikToker's response, she was like, yeah, guys, I was just trying to have a nice dinner with my family, and the waitress was being really weird about being a fan. And it's like, I'm sure both of those people perceive the situation incredibly differently, and there are both good perspectives and good things that we should probably be thinking about a little bit more on both sides. But then it comes out that this same TikToker just completely lied in a brand deal and has been privately rude to a whole bunch of other fans. So that one person one time very quickly snowballs into this is just who you are. And
like
I think
a pattern of behavior is established.
Miranda Sings and Colleen Ballinger, who are the same person, they've recently had that this is just who you are snowball. Which I think if you're bad enough is going to happen, and you can just solve it by being a good person, but that's hard for a lot of people, unfortunately.
And then going to her apology, okay? Again, even if every single accusation against her was false, why would you break out a ukulele and sing about it? Because no one is going to think you're taking it seriously, and you're going to get canceled just for that, okay? And then, like, she sings about it. She does not say the word sorry once.
She does
and
not.
She never apologizes in any way, shape, or form. She just basically keeps saying that, like, people want to cancel her and they're on the gossip train, but at least they're happy, so that's what matters. They don't care if, like, the gossip train ruins someone's life, right? But, like, it's not a gossip train because there's, like, millions upon, not millions, but, like, there's screenshots. There's multiple people verifying the same account. There is videos from her live show. And I don't want to sound in any which way, shape, or form like I am supporting Colleen Ballinger, okay? However, I think it is a very bold and very, for lack of a better word or phrase, and forgive my French, my mother who's listening to this, ballsy move to go through, to apologize, or quote unquote, apologize for 10 minutes and not a single time address any of the, like, valid, verified accusations against you.
Yes.
Because what she said one time was, I made a fart joke one time and it got taken the wrong way. And then proceeded to ignore
so much.
everything else.
The fart joke was part of that putting minors on stage and making them do yoga positions, and the joke is haha funny, it's sexual. Why? You are purposely being... You are either the dumbest person in the entire universe if you do not understand why people are upset, or even worse, you understand it and you are purposely trying to downplay it. And I don't know which one is worse, because they're both so bad.
And not even like, oh, you're the dumbest person on the earth, but it's either like you genuinely don't understand why this is wrong, which is obviously awful, but like we can explain that to you, right? But like you have reviewed what you have done. You have reviewed what people are canceling you for. You have reviewed the complaints and still go, no, I don't see any problem with the things that I did.
Mm-hmm.
People are just misinterpret, and like even if that's true, and like there could be an argument made, which there's no way there can be an argument made for Colleen Ballinger. Okay, I want to clarify that. But even if an argument could be made that people are misconstruing it, if enough people are coming forward saying, I had this issue with X, Y, and Z, this is how it made me feel, this is why it's wrong. It's not just one or two people like we were talking about earlier. Like, this is multiple people on multiple different accounts, and even multiple people on the same account witnessing the same event. You, even if you still think it's fine, you need to step back and consider why they don't think it's fine.
Exactly. And just there's no...
Not to sum it down to business, but like also you're in the entertainment business. You make a living off of having a following and having fans. So if a whole bunch of people who directly contribute to your income and health and well-being and livelihood are like, hey, I'm going to stop doing that because I don't like the things that you do, take a step back and reevaluate.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be weird with children.
Don't be weird with children. And also, if everybody is mad, maybe...
My mother always says, and I live by this, is if everyone's got an issue with one person, it's got to be the person. Like, it cannot possibly be 50 people have come up and had a problem with Joe, but they're all just misinterpreting Joe.
Yeah. Like, and if it gets to the point where everybody thinks that, you need to really, even if you genuinely truly, I don't think there's any way on God's green earth that Colleen Ballinger genuinely truly doesn't think she did anything wrong. But even if she's that blind and dumb and stupid to think that, this is a point where you reflect. This is not a point where you go on the offensive.
Yes. And then, even if she thinks she did nothing wrong, this kind of goes back into the celebrity thing versus like a regular person doing something wrong and apologizing, is at that level, you have a team around you. Even if she genuinely thinks she did nothing wrong, she would have a team who's like, okay, not that we understand, but like, we get, you don't think you did anything wrong, but here's the points that were made. You need to address them and apologize. But someone who is like not obtuse and thinks they did nothing wrong, but also recognizes that what they did was bad, but they're still standing by it for God knows whatever reason, okay, is going to do what she did, which is put out an apology just to appease everyone, but still refuse to take any sort of accountability in said apology. That's not even an apology, because you don't say sorry at all.
Yeah, and it's also... Can we just, for a second, talk about how it is a 10-minute song?
First of all, an apology video shouldn't be 10 minutes. An apology shouldn't be a song. An apology should not be a 10-minute long song.
If you're gonna apologize, first of all, I think rarely is a video apology like that a good choice. I think if that is what you are going to do, you need to have at least 3 lawyers look at it. And maybe even have your mom workshop it.
She has a team.
She mentions that she has a team. And yeah, I almost feel worse for even talking about it, because that is for sure what she wants. She wants people to focus on how absurd this was so that people aren't going back to what she actually did. But
I told you, I have not seen this video, but I appreciate every single person who did, because every single person I saw that, like, I watched the video through said that they did not want you to give her views, and they understand you don't want to give her views, so they're gonna have it here so we can all watch it. So we can all watch it and not give her the satisfaction. But, like, yeah, she goes, at the beginning of the video, she goes, my team told me I couldn't say what I really wanted to say. First of all, she said, but they didn't say I couldn't sing it. First of all, is she Victorious? Does she think she's Ariana Grande? Second of all, if that is kind of like that John Mulaney bit where he tells the story about how he buys the watch and then goes to sell it immediately. He buys a $12,000 watch and sells it for $6,000 so he can buy drugs, right? So he can have cash in hand. And then you can tell everyone in the audience is like kind of iffy on the joke. And he goes, if you think that's bad, that's just a story that I'm willing to tell you. If your team told you couldn't say what you really wanted to say, and what you came up with that was better than what you wanted to say before was a 10-minute long ukulele song,
just stay
what did you want to
quiet.
say before? War crimes?
War crimes, slurs that would be extra worse because it's June. Like, also, can I just circle back real quick? I did figure out the Daniel to Saoirse thing.
Okay, good. Do tell. I was like sitting up at night thinking about this.
I know. It was gonna keep me up at night if I didn't. So Daniel was in Kick-Ass 2, the movie. You know who else was in Kick-Ass 2? Donald Faison. You know what he was in? Scrubs. You know who he was in Scrubs with? Zach Braff. You know who Zach Braff famously dated for a very long time? Florence Pugh. You know what Florence Pugh was in? Little Women. You know who also was in Little Women?
Or was it Saoirse Ronan?
Well, it was Saoirse Ronan. Thank you very much.
Aren't you a genius? Anyway, comment down below drop some names and tell us who we should try to connect. It's Elanor and I's favorite activity, and I think it's extra funny when we do it because Elanor and I do not watch this or consume the same media, except when we do it, it's identical and it's usually together, like SNL. So yeah, drop some names of people we can play 12 Degrees of Separation with, and we'll tell you how long it takes us to get there.
And drop your chat in the address. Maybe we'll send you some lingerie.
Elanor, remember we talked about last week and how I had to edit things out of the episode?
I think it was clear that was a joke. We do not want anybody to send us lingerie. We do not want to send anybody lingerie. Because we're not weirdo
I think it's clear
creeps.
it's a joke, but like, yeah, I just don't want it to be misconstrued because I feel like, not to be like the internet is a different place and we
but like the internet is a different place and we need to be a lot more careful about what we say, and we also need to work on not just saying things. And I do regret saying that out loud now, because sometimes I think about all the stupid stuff I've said on the internet and how they don't even need like an AI little thing to make it my voice saying those stupid things. But I am comforted.
I was thinking about when I said the words, no one's going to come back and go, Kalina is a pedophile. And like, if you chop that real nicely.
Kalina is a pedophile. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I heard it. You heard it here, folks.
We might bleep that one out. Just to be safe.
I think
Cover mine behind.
we like actually have to bleep it out for YouTube standards.
Probably.
Which
legally.
is like, also I think that YouTube is a private business. I think for the most part they can make their own choices, but I do not super love how consistently YouTube is still allowing certain creators, like your Miranda Sings, like your Shane Dawson, like your James Charles, to
monetize. Go ahead and post.
To monetize.
But they make it so easy for them to monetize.
They make it easy for them to monetize. I don't understand how these people are still getting brand deals. I just... like, I'm in a very weird spot where I have a lot of genuine critiques about cancel culture and about how we kind of, as a society, like, handle people who have made mistakes. And I think there's a lot of nuance in this discussion that I genuinely truly think that Gen Z is just bad at nuance. I think nuance is kind of a dying thing, which is really a shame, because I think there have been cases where somebody who, you know, does something bad, but like mildly bad, like somebody who, let's say, cheats on a partner. Yes, that is bad. Yes, you should not do that. But I think you should be able to kind of come back from whatever career setbacks cheating on a partner might have had. You should be able to come back from that a lot easier than coming back from, say, doing blackface, being intensely criminally weird with a child. Like,
I'm glad you brought that up because, and I, you know, not to sound like, you know, as a society, not to sound like old man, but like, back to what I was saying earlier about how before a lot of stuff slipped under the radar because we weren't as harsh with like our critiques. I do think, and I do not think this is a bad thing because in the long run it's better. I do think sometimes it can go too far in the other direction for minor things like cheating. Like, I don't know if this is why you brought it up, but that Måneskin thing we were talking about, where Elanor had told me or asked me if like the lead singer of Måneskin was single, and I was like, oh no, like I'm pretty sure he had a girlfriend, right? And Elanor said no because I saw TikTok, because that's where we get all our information, of like how he basically had to apologize because people saw him making out with someone and they were like, oh my god, how could you cheat on your girlfriend? And I think that brings up like a really interesting question about like who is supposed to police these things, because my personal belief is it's not the fans, that's not our job. Now, if my friend, I think about it this way, if my friend who I knew personally and knew well cheated on their partner, I wouldn't want to be friends with them anymore, because you know, you want people in your life who have the same morals and values as you. And while I wouldn't necessarily like burn, like go scorched earth and never speak to them again and try and ruin their lives, I'd probably like, you know, distance myself and not be friends with them in any sort of intimate, deep way. Okay, but when it's like a celebrity, I do not think it's your job to be there and like, oh my god, he's making out with this random lady, let's message his girlfriend, the person who you don't even know. You don't know him. Let's message his girlfriend and make a big fuss and say how he's a horrible person because he's cheating on his girlfriend when we know nothing about their relationship. But like, you can stop listening to their music. You can be like, oh, you know, I used to like this band, but I just don't support them as individuals, or I don't support that guy as an individual. Like, I think that's also when like separating the art and the artist comes into play. But like, it is not our job. You can take your own individual moral stand in cases like that, but it's not our job to police these people. All of that being said, that is for minor things like cheating or just like little things that
generally being rude. You know, like,
yeah, you wouldn't like again, I think about it like if it was a friend or a person you know, you'd probably create some distance. Okay, listen, not the end of the world. Like, it's not like you're gonna run into them in the supermarket and never speak to them. Okay, like completely ignore them. But like, you're gonna create some distance. You'll small talk. Yada yada yada. That's fine. So I think for things like that, if it's a celebrity, that's like, it's not our job. But then when it's things like this where what they are doing is causing harm to, it's not like a person by person basis. If we take the cheating, they are hypothetically, if they were cheating, causing harm to their partner and probably the person they're cheating with. Okay, we don't appreciate that. Whereas things like this are like, they are causing harm to a community as a whole. They are posing a danger to society. Essentially, they are, if they have a large enough and young enough and impressionable enough fan base, creating persons who are in really truly lack correct moral character. That's a different issue, and that is up to us to police them, because clearly no one around them. I think things, basically, I know I'm talking into this long point, but what just came to my mind is, I think basically for like things like this, like being inappropriate with minors, there's so many steps before that should have been addressed or like nipped in the bud or stopped before we got to this point for it to blow up like this. Versus, I think things like cheating, again, is not that big of a thing. So it's not like there was a whole bunch of little things we could have avoided to get here. I feel like it might have been one or two steps before we're like, oh, this person's cheating. You know what I mean? So like for it to blow up on the level it did, it had to be years and like multiple instances of ignored are swept under the rug behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
Thank you
it's also
for coming to my TED Talk.
like in a similar line, and I think I'm just sort of repeating things. There are things that can be, you can hear people out on.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't what I think. There's also absolutely nothing that Colleen could have said that would have made this better. This is not a situation where you are able to make things better. This is, if you genuinely truly have proof that XYZ didn't happen, then give that to us. That might make things better. You really could only make things worse. And what she should have done is shut the heck up. And if she really, truly, if having a YouTube career was that important to her, come back in 2 or 3 years and give a genuine, honest, this is what I did. This is what may have led me to do it. Regardless, it was bad and wrong. And these are what I have done to fix it. And going forward, I will not be doing this, and this. That said, I understand if what I did was reprehensible. But I'm gonna switch my content entirely. Miranda Sings is being retired. Now I'm just gonna... I don't even know what she could do on YouTube at this point. But, don't talk now.
So, sorry, another thing I wanted to add is in terms of, policing and whose job that is in moral authority and all of that is, for example, and, I think this is valid, but, let's say you there's a musician you like, and they are of a different political party than you are. I do think it is totally valid to be I'm not going to support them anymore because, my money goes to them and their money goes to places where I don't care for it, right? Mm-hmm. However, I don't think that's as egregious, and it's not our job to police, because me taking my money away from this one singular artist isn't going to necessarily impact my life or their life in any significant way, okay? Whereas, if I am taking my money away from someone who is accused of being inappropriate with minors, I might not be impacting that celebrity's life in any meaningful way, or even mine. But you know whose life I am impacting that's important? Is the minor. Mm-hmm. So there is I don't want to say cost-benefit analysis, but in terms of one is kind of 6 of one, whether you leave the money with them or not, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It doesn't really make a difference, but impacting this one person's life positively, even if it might not make an impact between me, the third party, and the celebrity, that's important. That makes a difference, which is why it's our job to police in that situation.
And if the first accuser feels that they have been listened to and feels yes, what happened was actually wrong, and I can see that now, that's going to prompt other people. And it's not to... And I don't know, because it feels a little bit like a slippery slope. But it's also not. It reminds me of how back when the Me Too movement was a little big, and you still hear stupid stuff like this now, but it's so we just can't talk to women now. We just, if I look at a woman, I'm gonna get arrested for a hate crime. I can't even say the word boob anymore, or I'll be put in moon jail. No. If every single woman you've ever interacted with thinks that you are creepy, and they finally feel like they won't be ridiculed or ostracized for speaking up about that is an overall good. And if you genuinely are so creepy to women that you shouldn't be in the same room as them, it's probably good that women know that.
With that whole Me Too thing, I think I saw a lot of people saying basically is men don't want to have to confront the fact that they are things that they have done to people, to women, or could be considered assault. Because if this is true, and if every woman comes forward, yada yada yada, right? Then they're gonna have to reevaluate things and go, oh my God, what I do, and they're not ready to confront that. But also, kind of on your slippery slope argument is, yes, it's a slippery slope, but it's only a slippery slope you end up on if you ignored like the 10 signs behind you that said, do not come to this path, it's closed and dangerous.
Like, I would rather a huge news story that doesn't affect me come out, let's maybe, I don't even want to pick an example because that it seems weird, but like if a smaller YouTuber sees what's going on with Colleen and all that they get from that is, oh, I should talk to my fans less, or I should reevaluate how much access to my life my fans are getting, or oh, maybe I shouldn't be in group chats with all of these minors. Yes, it's fun right now, but look, things can get bad. Like, if this makes other, not even like other creeps, just other regular YouTubers take note of what not to do so that they can keep their fan base safe, that is a net good. Like, can I go off on one little more tangent?
Yes, I have 2 more points and then we can wrap this up. So you go.
I listened to the whole song, her whole apology song, and at least twice during it, she makes reference to how she's going to die. Like, she hides it in a bunch of layers, but some of the lines are, what if I killed myself because of how mean you guys are to me? That's kind of what it melts down to. And that is so disgustingly manipulative. Like, no, I don't think, I'm sure people have told her to die, and that is not something that you should be throwing around like that. But genuinely, truly, why are you saying that does make you look worse. It does make you look manipulative. You are not helping yourself in any way. And also, stop being dramatic like this. Yeah, grow up. You're an adult, and that one little sentence proves that you, and like all your other actions too, but proves that you do not know how to act as an adult, which means that you should not.
No, finish.
Just, if you are not able to rationally be somebody who has a brain, especially like an adult person who in theory should have an adult brain, you should not be allowed access to your own social media when you're going through a scandal like this, because you are inevitably going to make it worse for yourself. And it is clear that you have a team that at the very least cares about your image because they are paid to. Trust them.
I was gonna say, she also has that bit where, I don't remember it word for word, but she also has that bit where she says, like, she starts to explain herself in the song and then goes and looks at the camera and goes, oh, you don't care? Okay. Like she's anticipating the audience dismissing her and is trying to make them feel bad for doing that, even though it's a perfectly valid thing to do because she's insane. And kind of the point I wanted to end on is, I saw someone tweet this, and I will give the Twitter handle is oh my Claude. Claude is spelled Klaud. So if that's you, thank you, because I stole this from you. But they put a quote from Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney, and it says, people who intentionally become famous, I mean people who, after a little taste of fame, want more and more of it, are, and I honestly believe this, deeply psychologically ill. The fact that we are exposed to these people everywhere in our culture, as if they are not only normal but attractive and enviable, indicates the extent of our disfiguring social disease. There is something wrong with them, and when we look at them and learn from them, something goes wrong with us. Which I agree with wholeheartedly. I do not think there's anything inherently wrong with fame as a institution, as a concept, however you want to define that. However, wanting to be famous, I think, is an epidemic. I can understand wanting to be in a career, like let's say you want to be an actor, and you want to be successful enough that you are famous, but not so much for the fame, you just want to be a successful actor. That I understand. But wanting to be famous for the sole reason of being famous and having attention is genuinely, I think, a sickness.
It's terrifying.
And I think that's the point we should end on.
I
like doing these little
agree.
episodes when we just kind of chit-chat about,
insanity,
culture, so to speak. Yeah. We did a John Mulaney episode last week, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. Haha. But I'm pretty sure. I said that today, and I was so tempted to just start talking about the podcast, but I was in a work setting, so then I didn't do that. But, the John Mulaney episode, which I think addresses some of the same points we kind of talked about here. And I think that's also a very good comparison to, like, something that impacts minors, and refraining from supporting Colleen will positively impact the life of someone else. Whereas I think refraining from supporting John Mulaney is just kind of like, at the end of the day, unfortunately, if you consider it unfortunate, I don't really, but like, unfortunately, it's just going to be a wash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I personally think what John Mulaney did really wasn't none of our business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Which, if you listen to last week's episode, or if you listen to it after that, you will know how we feel about that. But we've been here. This was supposed to be a quick, short episode. It was not. I'm sure we're all shocked.
Yeah, but we will be back probably next week, hopefully, with something.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually shift over to a movie, or like, go back to our famous and now favorite best of albums. So if you have any suggestions for artists, we can do that. Or if you have any drama you want us to talk about, like pop culture. I never thought I'd be talking about pop culture drama in my life, but I'm actually having a really good time. So if you have any suggestions,
yeah, it doesn't even have to be pop culture. Like, if you just have an interpersonal conflict with,
as long as I can like make a link to media at least once to justify the theme of this show, go for it. Just be like, I've got beef with my best friend. We used to watch Psych together. I can make that work.
Yeah, I don't personally like how specific that is. So next week, Colleen and I will be just talking about our own interpersonal conflict.
You guys are a therapist, and we'll see you next week, same time.
Yes.
Same place.
Yes. Good night. Follow us
Bye.
on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, and find us wherever you find your podcast.
Thanks for listening. Don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.